Okay, so when you talk about this comet coming through Virgo, the Virgo virgin, the Bible in Revelation says that it's the woman that gives birth to the man child being Jesus, right? The dragon is there trying to capture the woman. Now this goes back to a year ago when this war started because it was about the same exact time frame when we saw this sign in the heavens again with the woman, except this time the man child was actually named. The comet was called the man child, and it flew right through Virgo, just like it did today or yesterday, and had the sun at its back, the moon at its feet, and it was clothed with the stars. And Nishimura, which is the man who discovered the green comet, and it wasn't a discovery that happened a long time before. It happened like only a month or two before they actually recognized that it was coming. They were going to be able to see it, and it happened to be green on top of that. Nishimura means the wise man child. So the wise man child comet is screaming through the constellation Virgo, giving birth, as it says, to a man child. The dragon was there waiting to devour. And at that time, I think it was the constellation of Leo, right? With the Carla, wasn't it the constellation of Leo that was there? And it was the sickle, which many thought, well, it's a harvest of Jesus. It means that all the Christians are going to be harvested to heaven. It's always about rapture. But wasn't it a sickle? The sickle is in the constellation of Leo, right? They call that
Right.
the
Yeah,
serpent
the
star.
comet, before it went through the woman, it went through Leo and the sickle constellation. And the brightest star in that one is Regulus,
Hmm.
which means the dragon.
Now, some people think that's the king star. That represents Jesus. But if you really look at what Regulus is, it actually says it's a serpent, right?
Yeah.
It's a serpent.
Hmm.
But why do they say it's a king? Why do they say it's the king star? Or they say,
Because it's associated with the lion, so they think it's about the Lord.
oh, okay, okay. But it's also a sickle, which has to do with death. Because isn't it
Hmm.
isn't it the sickle in the lion?
Yeah.
It's like inside of the lion constellation. So a lot of people think it means the reaping or the harvest, but it could also be the symbol of death, right?
Right.
So we looked at that as being a part of that message. But at the time we were looking at this last year, right before the attacks in Israel, it was literally like less than, well, it was a little bit more than a week. It wasn't more than 2 weeks. It was about a week and a half. And we were talking about it. Some of you might remember talking about it in the fellowship. But what happened was Mars was in the now this is another thing. Mars was in the constellation at the time. The same thing is happening this time, except it's not Mars, it's Jupiter. Mars represented
No,
war,
it's Mercury.
or I'm sorry, Mercury. What did I say? I said Jupiter. I said,
Jupiter.
yeah, it's Mercury. So Mars represented war, and that's kind of why I said there might be a war in Israel because this is kind of looking like there's some kind of chaos and war. And we also connected it to that it just a new variant that just popped up at that moment in time, and it only was talked about for a week or two, and that was it. And then they forgot it. But it was the name of the variant had to do with war, chaos, and the god of Eris, I think it was, and they called it the variant Eris. So I put all that together to say, it looks to me like from what I'm seeing here that this has a sign. It is a sign for Israel, and it has something to do.
Right. And it happened on Rosh Hashanah when it went into Virgo.
Okay, so it happened on Rosh Hashanah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's right. I do remember that now. It happened on the very day of Rosh Hashanah. Okay, now we have this comment going through on the very day of Yom Kippur, the day of judgment. So what happens? The Rosh Hashanah, the blowing of the trumpet, prepare for judgments are coming. Uh-oh, what happened? Did I get lost here? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I hear
I
you.
I took
Okay.
the picture down.
Oh, okay. Was that my picture?
No, it was mine.
Oh, okay. So it says that Rosh Hashanah is the festival, the blowing of the trumpets. They say at the head of the year, but it is basically a call to the people to prepare for judgments are on the way. The judgment being Yom Kippur, right? So it's like two bookends. You got Rosh Hashanah and you got Yom Kippur, and in the middle you have the repentance or the days of awe, the time of humility and reverence and prayer and fasting, and don't let yourself be caught at ease because you've got to prepare for the closing or for the seal or the closing of the book. The day of Yom Kippur is the closing of the books, right? The books are sealed. And if you're in the book, you go into life. And if you're not found in the book of life, you go into death. So here we are. At the same time, we're seeing Virgo once again with a comet going through Virgo C203A3, which is called the Atlas Comet. It also is called the Blue or the Purple Mountain. It's named after a uh, Chinese stellar, or not stellarium, but the Chinese what do they call it? Where they see the
The
stars from?
observatory.
Observatory. The observatory is called Purple Mountain. I guess it's on a mountain that's purple or something. So so at the same time, Mercury is now in the constellation, which Carla, you said had to do with what? Money or with
With
finance?
commerce.
Commerce.
Hmm.
So that could portend something happening with the global economy, is what I'm thinking. Um, and you said Purple Mountain meant what? The mountain of
Well,
the Lord, or maybe something to do with purple
the
is scar.
church.
Yeah, the
The
church.
church, yeah, because it follows the pattern in Revelation 12 with the man child going through the woman first, and then the dragon is enraged at her and he sweeps down a third of the stars, and then he also is thrown down. And then the flood of waters comes out of his mouth, but then the earth swallows up the waters. She's kept safe in the wilderness for 3.5 years.
Now that's the
And
woman.
then,
The woman is Israel.
yeah, and then he goes after the church
He goes after the offspring of the child. Now the child is
of the
caught up.
woman.
The child of the woman is caught up into heaven. Remember, he's raptured. That or not raptured, but a lot of people say it's the rapture, but it's actually Jesus being ascending because that's a symbol of Jesus, right? The seed of the woman,
Hmm.
and then out of the seed of the woman comes the offspring, which is the church.
Hmm.
And then he goes to make war against this the woman's offspring
Hmm.
or the seed's offspring, right?
Yeah,
Or is it the woman's offspring or does it say the seed's offspring?
it's the woman's offspring.
The one which is basically the offspring of the seed, right?
Yeah.
Because Jesus is obviously in heaven, so he can't make war against Jesus, but
Right.
he doesn't make war against the woman, though he tries. He tries to make war, and that's what's happening
Hmm.
right now. Is I
Hmm.
think that they called it the flood, right? The Alaska flood
Hmm.
when they started the war. They called it the Alaska flood, and it has everything to do with the temple. And they're going after Israel, but they're not able to get her. They're not able. It's her technologies, her abilities to defend and to deflect and to pull in the wings of an eagle. Now, see,
Hmm.
this is another thing. Israel is drawing America into this, and I'm going to tell you what I think. This is my personal feeling: is that, and then with the prophecies of Revelation, I think it kind of bears that out. Maybe, possibly, is that the wings of the eagle? It says takes the woman into the desert or into the wilderness, and she's hidden. Now, the wings of the eagle obviously is America, but if you say she takes the wings, it's like she takes what caused us to have flight for herself, and then she finds safe haven. But what happens to the rest of the eagle without wings? I don't know. Maybe that has something to do. Is my thought is that maybe America is going to be in the crosshairs because I think we're much more weak. We're like a big, we're this big giant that can't really defend itself. And Israel is much more focused and much more unified, much more you know, they don't have as big of a target on them. Where we have all kinds of targets. We're very soft. We're very open. That's our big weakness is that we've accepted everybody in. So I think they're going to turn their attention and they're going to unleash their wrath upon the Christian West. They say the Christian West, right? So the Christians are going to be in the midst of this barrage of the wrath of the dragon is what I think. Now, this second sign, it's like a dual sign. The first one was about the man child, and the second one is the comet Atlas. And what did you say the Atlas meant again? It's
Yeah, so the name Atlas means enduring and to suffer.
the enduring and to suffer. So what does it
Mhm.
say? The endurance of the saints. There's a scripture that talks about the endurance of the saints. Let me see if I can find that really quick. And it has to do with the tribulation. How come I can't? Let's see if I can find that really quickly. Okay. So it says here in Revelation chapter 14, verses 12, it says, "Here is a call for the endurance of the saints, those who keep the commandments of God and their faith in Jesus." And let's look at the context on that. The context of that is, and this has to do with the three angels and Babylon's fall. Now, a lot of times people have likened America to Babylon, but it says, "And the smoke of their torment rises forever and ever, day and night. There is no rest for those who worship the beast and its image, or for anyone who receives the mark of its name." Now, and I do believe these technologies are being rolled out right now, and America seems to be the place that it's debuting. It's kind of like it's being tested very, I think it's like being tested right here. Now, I know there's other places like UK and Australia, and some place in Europe, but because of the father of the vaccine, claimed to be the father of the vaccine, I think that there's a great deception happening behind all that. And people are very unaware. And for the fervor that's behind this political season, especially in regards to Trump, I have to wonder if this is one of the great lying signs and wonders, that this is a deceptive sign and a wonder that people are putting their hope in. They're looking for answers that they're because the world is looking so bleak, and they're imposing all of their hopes and dreams upon this politician who happens to be named the little horn, right? The little Trump, the Trump that makes big boasts. Like he's always boasting, making great boasts. He's got a tower, very similar to the whole representation of the tower is about occultic powers. I mean, the tower of Nimrod, the tower that reached into heavens. They were trying to unify the world, right? Everybody was unified in language, and it was a global type mindset that they supposedly had to try to pierce into the heavens. They were literally using the tower, as a cone of power that I believe it wasn't just a physical tower, but it does represent the high place. This is where all the occult activity usually happens, is in the high places, right? That it was a portal. It was somehow a spiritual portal that was getting them into the dimensions of talking to these demonic entities, these principalities and powers. And so this is a to me a parallel of what we see happening again, and the DNA is being altered as well. So as in the days of Noah, so would it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. There were giants. Why were there giants? Because the DNA was altered. The DNA had the technologies of whatever was going on there had altered the DNA of humans. Now I have to wonder. I was talking to my wife about this. I know this sounds a little conspiratorial, but you got to wonder about how come, why is Trump's son, Barron, such a giant? Have you seen how tall that guy is? I think he's over 7 foot tall. But the whole Barron Trump thing that you get into, and I know that a lot of people have looked into this about the demonic, maybe it's like demonic prophecy or something, that book that was written back in the 1800s about Barron's greatest adventure. And his dad's name was Don. And they lived in New York City on Fifth Avenue, just so happens to be right where Trump Tower is. And what happens? He goes into a portal, and he's in a time machine, and he goes to Russia. He goes to Russia? Really? Yeah, he goes to Russia. And when you look at the pictures and the illustrations of the book, I'm telling you, it looks like a young Trump, and it also looks like a young Barron. If you've ever seen pictures of Barron Trump, his face is round and it looks just like that. Same with his dad. When you look at his old pictures from when Trump was a young man, he looks just like the picture. And this book was written in the late 1800s. Tell me that's not some kind of weird sign. And a lot of people said, well, he's got Tesla. He's got Tesla's information. I mean, look at how he's connected to Tesla's company, this Tesla company with Elon. Elon is kind of like a weird Tesla, in a certain way. But Tesla had connections to Trump's uncle. And what happened was when Tesla died, and he was in I don't know if he was in an apartment or something, and he had all these experiments, and supposedly he got into this time machine stuff, but he had all this technology and patents on things, and Trump's uncle was tasked to go over there to go through the house or to go through the apartment after he died to gather all this information and material. And supposedly they didn't find anything. But what they said was that Trump's uncle was very beloved by Trump himself, and also his uncle loved and doted over Trump. They were very, very close. And they speculate that maybe some of this stuff that Trump's uncle found, he didn't turn it over or they kept it or whatever. He was somehow given that information. That's why people always speculate about Trump's connections to the whole Tesla uh, lost technologies of Tesla, because supposedly our government didn't have anything that came out of it. There was nothing there, right? But they believe that there was, and that they took a bunch of that scientific experimental, technologies that he had compiled, and all the patents that he had that were supposedly showing how to do all these things that nobody knew about. And now you've got Elon, this very strange character that is going into space, this whole space thing, and then these exotic technologies. Now, this goes back to the Jack Parsons experiment. Have you heard of Jack? I don't know if that was. Now I don't. Okay, so when you get back, now listen to this. This is a connection to Trump. So Jack Parsons, and we're talking about Elon and his space program, but look at Jack Parsons. He actually helped NASA with this jet propulsion laboratory. He was the one that created this whole thing. He helped NASA get to the moon. He was very instrumental, but he was a high level occultist. And he had relationships with people like Aleister Crowley and Ron L. Hubbard. Ron L. Hubbard was the one that created the Dianetics and the whole Scientology cult. And that was before he actually did created the occult or created that cult, that they were working together. Now, it just so happens that they were doing some kind of ritual and they were in communication, and there is letters to verify this. They were in communication with Aleister Crowley. And if you don't know who Aleister Crowley is, you need to do research on it. They say he was the most evil man to ever live. They called him the Beast. And he was definitely at the forefront of occult, um, doctrine. People look up to him as like the father of modern occultism. There's songs written about him. Ozzy Osbourne has a song about him. His face was on Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart. Was it Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart? I think it was that album, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely, with all the faces. He was on there. Aleister Crowley's face was in there. He had a big influence upon a lot of people that were well-to-do in entertainment, in music. He was an actor. He talked about acting being some of the greatest magic. This is the best way to delve in and tap into the magical powers, was to become an actor or to be a role player, because that's when you're actually possessed, when you put yourself into these roles or role play. That's where you get all the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, the role playing. And so he said that that he wrote a letter, and he was having different, communications back and forth with Jack Parsons and Ron L. Hubbard. And they had told him in this communication, and it was dated on Donald Trump's birthday. And it so happened to coincide. Donald Trump was born on a lunar eclipse, June 14th, 1946. So on that day, there was a full, complete lunar eclipse, right? That's a moon eclipse. That's a blood moon, or a lunar eclipse turns blood red. They have communications from Aleister Crowley that said that Jack Parsons and Ron L. Hubbard had brought forth the moon child on the very day of his birthday. That they had conjured up what they called the moon child. Now, this was the year 1946, just a few months before Donald Trump's birthday. Okay, guys, I just have to cut in here, and this is an edit after the meeting that we had, and I'm going to probably talk more about this. But when we did this meeting, what was so weird about this is that the file that actually recorded the meeting had 666 at the end. And here's the actual view of that recording that I thought I had lost. I had thought I had lost this recording, but it was in a different file than I thought. It was moved, I guess, to a different file that I didn't know. But it was literally 666 in the actual file. And now look at this. I'm going to be talking right now. I'm cutting in right now to edit because I'm talking about the Blaze Star. This is the only place that I could find this letter about the Moonchild, and look at the address, the URL. It's actually called the Blaze Star. That's what they call this star that I believe is heralding. My wife and I have believed that this is a sign that heralds the coming of this Moonchild, Antichrist. I think that's what that is. What do you think? Isn't that bizarre? Look at that Blaze Star. And it's all about, you can check out the website, go over there and check out this URL, but just wanted to insert that into this edit here. That this nova, which they call the Blaze Star, brighten for well, it wasn't the first time, but it happens supposedly every what, 80 years. Now this time it's supposed to happen here real soon. They're saying it's a little late, but they're expecting it any time. And it's 78 years. So it didn't actually go to the 80th year, but it's going into the 78th year. And they're saying by their observations that this thing is supposed to illuminate the skies and be very bright. And it just so happens to be in the constellation of the serpent, or of the serpent's crown. So it's in the serpent's crown, and it's not one of the stars of the serpent, because there's seven stars in the serpent's crown, but it happens to be right there where it's brightening, right? So this should be happening anytime. This star should be going into nova at any time here. I think it's going to happen on, like, and Carla and I were talking about this. I think it's going to happen on a very significant day that's coming for Trump. And I think this star heralds something. It's heralding something. What do you think? What's your guys' thoughts? Let me have a little feedback on some of your guys' thoughts on what you think.
Do you see the picture?
Yes. Oh, the Corona
Okay, so
Borealis.
that's the crown.
Yes. That's amazing. So it's right outside of the Corona Borealis.
Right, so it hasn't gone nova yet, and the reason why we think this star is related to
Oh, go ahead.
no, the reason why we think this is related to the Antichrist is because the crown has seven stars, but the eighth one, which is T Corona Borealis, that's what the actual name is, nicknamed the Blaze Star. Because in Revelation 17:11, it talks about the seven kings, but the eighth king, the beast who once was and now is not, is an eighth king. He belongs to the seven and is going to his destruction. So that's talking about the Antichrist. So when you put it all together, when you think about, okay, this is a star, it's a reoccurrent nova. The last time it went nova was the year Trump was born. And the same year where there was a solar eclipse on his birthday. And now it's about to go nova
No,
when he's about to come in,
it wasn't solar, it was a lunar.
or a lunar eclipse. And now it's going to go nova again when he's coming into power.
Right.
It's related to him.
Right. 46, and now here it is again when he's coming into power. And it
Right.
just
And so when it's saying the beast who once was and now is not is an eighth king, you know, when we think about that and how it relates to him, well, he was
president, and then he
wasn't, and
and
now
now he
he's
is
coming
again.
back again.
Isn't that weird? Tell me that's not crazy. And it's the eighth star that just so happens to be illuminating on at the very time frame of Trump's coming back.
Yeah. And a nova is like a rebirth.
Millie.
Go ahead. Maria, are you there?
Nope, didn't mean to.
Oh, it's okay. No problem.
Yeah, so a nova is like a rebirth.
Gotta get it right here.
Like this with you dictating to me.
I'll mute him. But anyway,
Right.
oh, there you go. I got you. Okay, so anybody else have any thoughts on that? Yeah. We brought this to you guys because you are our supporters and we appreciate you, but we wanted to make sure that you guys had the first crack at critiquing and sharing and your thoughts and what you think about what this means, and just kind of, and be honest. If you don't agree, we don't mind if you don't agree. We're not like going to be all offended because you don't agree with us, but this is just kind of what we're thinking. It seems to be related and lining up with things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have any, a lot of times people are like, oh, you just hate Trump and you got a Trump derangement syndrome. And I'm like, no, I don't even really care. I don't even really, to me, it's not like it's an emotional thing at all. It's just like I'm after the truth. I want to know what the truth is. I want to follow the Lord and making sure that I don't get deceived by the age, especially if it is truly the lying signs and wonders. I don't want to be a part of the possible elect. It says that could be deceived because
Mhm.
the Bible does say the elect could possibly be deceived in those days. So that's
Sure
why I kind
does.
of go ahead.
Yeah, it sure does look like that. Yes. And it's amazing that the signs are here.
Yes, it is very, very interesting.
Yeah. And um, so when it talks about the king having power in Revelation 13, it says it was given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them, and it was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation.
Mhm.
And so that's what you see happen with this Comet Atlas. It's after it goes from Virgo, it goes up to the serpent, and it stays there
Mm.
through tabernacles, and then it leaves after tabernacles. And so it's basically like the church being handed over to the serpent.
Well, it could also be too because mass mandates are coming back. Isn't it the serpent? Isn't it the serpent holder it's going through because it's maybe coming back? They're going to use it
Right,
again.
right, right. Because that constellation is directly tied to
Serpent holder,
the medicine,
the medicine.
uh, the rod of, I don't know how to pronounce it, but
Yeah, it's like a medical rod with the serpent around it, right?
yeah, it's their symbol.
So could it be that we're going to see a recurrence of some kind of um, virus, you know, kind of flu thing that's going to bring lockdowns and something again akin to what happened where they control every aspect of everybody's life, and they're going to use the medical field to do that to bring about this control. And see, they implemented a lot of technologies during that time. This was kind of the catalyst that brought about and the rollout of like the AI and everything, because all this stuff started coming out right about the same time when it really became um, prolific and everybody was starting to become aware of its influence. We're talking about the AI's influence. And it's only been the last, since COVID. There's been a lot of crazy stuff that's happened since COVID. And it's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome where they get you to do stuff because they've traumatized you enough that you have to kind of go along with it, like, well, I guess I'll just have to take it, I guess, in order to get back to my old life. I want my life back, like so
Yeah,
people, so they're going along with it. So they're going to do it again because it worked so well the first time.
yeah. And another aspect about that constellation is it's linked to the secret to immunity. It's
What?
linked to snake venom,
Wait a minute. The secret to what?
immunity, like living forever
Oh, you mean immunity? You mean immortality?
or immortality.
Yeah, I was going to say immunity. I was thinking it had something to do
No,
with the vaccine. Okay,
no.
so it
And
has something.
snake venom, and also Apollo is tied to him.
Okay, wait. So let's get back to that. So you're saying that the snake holder constellation, what do they call it again?
Ophiuchus, I think.
Ophiuchus,
Hmm.
that it's related to Apollo,
Hmm.
and it's also related to immortality, because that's what
Hmm.
they're promising through this new mRNA technology, by the way, is that there's going to be no death. They're going to get rid of the aging gene. They're going to be able to edit out bad things in your body like cancer, etc., and they're going to give you immortality. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's what they're trying to do with this new technology. But so they're saying immortality, Apollo, which Apollo is the destroyer, right?
Hmm.
Isn't he the destroyer?
Yeah.
Or what does he do? He's kind of like Satan, right? I mean, Apollo
Yeah.
represents satanic powers of the last day. Apollyon. Doesn't he
Right.
come out of the pit, right? Apollyon is Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
Now Satan is not going to come as, many Christians think. He's not going to be coming as some evil entity that they're going to be all so afraid of. He may come offering hope and peace to the world, but what does it say? That he comes and he makes war. He uses peace
Yeah.
to make war. But what has Trump been promising? Oh, I'll bring peace in 24 hours of me being president.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he's saying to destroy and utterly annihilate Iran and for Israel to expand their borders, which means going into Syria, into Lebanon, and taking over the Palestinian territory. Do you think that's going to cause peace on earth? Come on. There ain't no peace coming. He's not going to bring peace in 24 hours. And you think Russia's going to go along with this? No, there is war against the Antichrist. Some people say, well, he's never going to be resisted. The Antichrist cannot be resisted. The Bible said, oh yeah, there's nations that war against the Antichrist.
Yeah, and then if you remember, Apollo's also related to archery, the
Archery,
poisonous arrows,
yes.
and healing and diseases. So yeah, it's all related to the vaccine.
Healing and diseases. So he also inflicts disease, but he also
Right.
supposedly brings healing, which kind of is a double-edged sword with the mRNA. They're promising the healing of cancer and immortality, the death gene or whatever, the aging gene. And yet they're also having all kinds of side effects, which is killing people. But the arrows are poisonous, right? They say, didn't they say something about the poison? Their poison arrows are poisonous, or was that the mark? If you go back to the original Greek, I can't remember who it was. It
It
was
was the
original Greek, right? For the mark, wasn't it a poisonous arrow or
it had to do with toxin.
toxin? It was a toxin arrow or a toxin, like pointed prick. That was what the mark meant.
Oh, I think we're confusing the two.
Are we?
The first writer had the bow, which
Right,
is toxin, so it's the poisonous arrows.
right.
But then the mark is charagma, and that has to do with the palisades or the stake.
The Palisades and the stake.
Hmm.
Now, what was, because I thought those two were kind of, because they both Palisades and the stakes are basically just like the needles, so it's very
Right.
similar, right? To the
Hmm.
to the actual arrow. They kind of said it was the same thing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um,
But then the poisonous arrows has to do with the first rider, which is the Antichrist, the first seal of Revelation 6. And he comes out to conquer, and he has a bow and arrow, or it says bow, but when you look at it, it really means poisonous arrows.
Poisonous arrows. But where does the Palisade come in again?
That's charagma. That's mark
Oh,
of the
that's
beast.
that's
Mark.
that's going back to the different passage, a different
Uh-huh.
verse. Okay, so the first seal is the rider on the white horse that has the bow and the poisonous arrows, which we believe that was Corona, because he had a crown too. The corona was on his head, right? He was
Hmm.
a rider that had a crown, and a lot of people, have tried to interpret that, but I think that had to do with the corona or the coronavirus, and that he conquered the world. Did not coronavirus conquer the world? It
Yeah.
brought the whole world under submission, right?
Yeah, it did.
And it changed everything. It actually rolled out these technologies now about digital ID, digital currency. It's facilitating all this stuff. Digital ID, digital currency, um, you know, uh, all the mRNA stuff that's supposedly going to connect all the dots, because there's really these self-assembling nanotechnologies or nanobots are literally like networks that are being built inside of the body that are going to connect you, and you become the internet of bodies, right? You become a node where you can send and receive information like a computer, and it's going to be written right into your own cells or your own it actually will create, it can actually edit your DNA too with the different frequencies because it works off a frequency. And many people say that it gives people a MAC address, right? Because it is a computer technology. And if you are connected, and this is all patents, you can look it all up. These are all real patents. These are all real technologies. It may sound like sci-fi, but hey, if you really look into it, you'll see that it's legitimate. It's not, this isn't like crazy conspiracy theories. These are literal technologies. I mean, just go look up patent 060606. I mean, that has to do with Microsoft's patent on, wasn't it, what was that patent again? I know I shared this with my parents and they freaked out when they saw it. 0606, they thought I was just, let me see. It's okay. Crypto, okay, it has to do with cryptocurrency system using body activity data. So the nanotechnologies are going to be in the body, but they're going to be connected and wedded to cryptocurrencies or buying and selling, right? There you go. The mark is in the body. You can't buy or sell using cryptocurrencies. And who's the cryptocurrency president? That's Donald Trump. He says, I'm the cryptocurrency president.
Hmm. And you have Elon Musk, the false prophet.
And he
Right.
promotes cryptocurrencies like crazy.
Right. And he has the Starlink satellites, which is just military surveillance.
Right. And what are those? Those are the stars of the heavens. Maybe that has something to do with those stars. Those stars falling to the earth, maybe. I don't know. People say he might be like the false prophet, definitely. And if they do the Everything app, then everything will be connected through Twitter or X. Why do they call it X? X is a symbol too, a bad symbol. For those who don't know, X is a bad symbol. That it will be actually embedded within the body. Now, if there is no cell phones and the body actually becomes one and the same, you can actually embed the cell phone technologies or whatever, the voice to bone technology and all the other circuitries that are going to be, you could just dial up somebody and talk to them in your head or whatever. I don't even know what they're saying, but they're saying by the next 5 years it'll be obsolete. Then you have cryptocurrencies being transmitted, and like everything is going to be done through that app. Like it's going to somehow verify who you are by your MAC address or by your internal nano circuitry that somehow connects you to and it's biometrics. It's all, you're literally becoming a cyborg. You are becoming a cyborg or the interface, as he said, to the AI. You become one with the AI. And this is what Elon said had to happen, or we're going to be destroyed. That's what he said. We will be destroyed by AI technology and robots if we don't merge with it. This is out of Elon's own mouth. You can sit and watch these videos of him talking about this. And he's pushing and promoting Trump with the biggest platform on the planet. And they're saying that this is going to be a platform that's going to encompass the whole world, that everybody's going to use it, that eventually the whole world will be tapped into this and have to be networked in order to buy, sell, and do anything else on the planet. Right now, there's different networks all over. You've got China has their own, I don't know, it's called WeApp, and you got other ones, different parts of the world, in Russia and here in the United States. But eventually they say this will all become one, right? So I don't know. What do you think? Cryptocurrency system using body activity data. This is the patent of 060606. Tell me that's not weird. And this is let's see. Let's see what they say here. Yeah. Okay. So they're trying to debunk it here. Patent application 060606 does not mention inserting microchips into the body. It says our verdict. Microsoft's 060606 patent doesn't reference injectable microchips. It is true that Microsoft has a patent application with the numbers 060606 in it, but it's for a system which rewards physical activity with cryptocurrency. That's a bunch of BS. If you go and read it, it has to do, and it says right there, they're basically admitting it right there. It rewards physical activity with cryptocurrency. It has to do with your physical body and what your body is doing, and you're getting currencies back. Okay, but it has to do with technology. Why would they have a patent on that? If it was just rewarding you for cryptocurrency, you could just do that with any you know any kind of setup. I mean, you don't need a patent for that, right? Why would you need a patent for that if it was just rewarding somebody with a physical crypto or with cryptocurrency for doing something physical? It doesn't make any sense. Um, let me see the patent here. I'll look at the actual patent. Let's see. Now we recorded this, guys, so this will be there so you can kind of go back and go over it. So you didn't really miss anything. We will post it for you to go back for all that just got here, Red Silk and Melissa and I guess Karina. Some of you guys may have just gotten here. We're gonna post this back for you to look at. But we talked already about the stars and about the meaning and about constellations and what we think it means. So we're gonna let you guys check that out again because this is recorded. We'll be posting it in Patreon. Okay, so the cryptocurrency thing is okay. So basically, it's using body activity. Cryptocurrency, this is the actual patent. Publication date was 26, March 26, 2020. Why would they do it right during COVID, right? Right during COVID. March 26. Wasn't that the point at which COVID was the worst when it became an actual pandemic and everybody knew about it? March 26, 2020. That was when the actual patent was issued. And it just so happened that the number of the patent was 060606. And this was for Microsoft, right? So what is the title? Cryptocurrency System Using Body Activity Data. Body activity data? Okay, so they're trying to whitewash this, but yeah, your body is giving out data like a node, right? Doesn't a node give and receive? It gives out information and it takes in information. This cryptocurrency technology is going to be wed to your body, to what's going on inside your body. So it says there's a sensor. Okay, so human body activity associated with a task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of a cryptocurrency system. A server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to a server. So a sensor communicatively coupled to or comprised in the device of the user may sense body activity of the user. Body activity data may be generated based on sensed body activity of the. See, this is the nanotechnology inside of the body, and it's sensing all the different things that are going on within your body, and it somehow connects you to cryptocurrency. So it's going to be, oh yeah, you're a good citizen. Yeah, you have good thoughts. Yeah, you're praising the government. Yeah, you got AAA, social credit score. Okay, well here's your cryptocurrency. You're going to have extra. You're going to have extra money here. You're going to be able to go buy and sell and do what you need to do because you're one of us. We have approved of you. That's what it's really going to come down to. That's what it is. And they're trying to downplay it with this fact checker, making it seem like it's some outward thing that you do that's going to reward you with cryptocurrency. See how dishonest it is? How it lies? So anyways, anybody else have anything they want to share or thoughts they want to give? And I just want to say once again, thank you guys for supporting what we're doing. Definitely, we appreciate you. And I'm looking at you guys as the seed of what is to come. You're the seed that is what is to come. And there's many more that are coming on board when all these things begin to really get underway. And I do believe that it's going to be a waves of information that God is going to be giving and disseminating to his people through direct revelation. It's revelations that God, and it's not new revelation or anything. It's revelation that God has hidden. He's embedded it. It's there to be found, just like the book of or the book of Daniel. Jesus said, or the angel said to Daniel, seal up this book until the time of the end, for it is not yet, but it's for a long distance, into the future, right? So these things, I believe God is going to start to open, and I think He's already doing it. I think these things are being unveiled now, and the Spirit of God is showing many people different things, and the dots are being put together very quickly. Um, it's rivaling, if not overcoming, the AI. I don't think the AI has anything on God at all. It's not smarter than God. It's not faster than God. It doesn't have greater miracles than God. So people that are putting all their stock into the technologies of today and they're thinking that it's miracles, they're lying signs and wonders. These are not true signs and wonders from God. The Bible says lying or false signs and wonders. What is it that we're looking at here, honey?
That's Comet Atlas.
Okay. Hmm. So the sextans, what is that? What constellation is that? Sextan? Sextans? Sextans?
It's an astronomical, or it's like
Oh,
a
oh, is that's the crown, right?
no, it's not the crown. It looks like what's it called? A bow, but it's actually something that they use to watch the movements of the stars.
Huh. Huh. What is the serpent's caput? What is
That's the snake.
Oh, is that the name of the constellation?
Yeah, so that's the snake that Ophiuchus is holding.
Okay, yeah, Ophiuchus is holding it. But that's funny that they call it the caput. So, but where's the crown? The corona borealis, where's that at? I don't see it on there. I thought it was the serpentine.
The
Serpent.
crown is it's not in this picture.
Really?
No.
Okay. Huh. That's really interesting. Yeah, we went through a lot of material for those who just got here, so we're gonna repost this um here real soon. And I'm looking up that sextants. It's a minor constellation on the celestial equator, which was introduced in 1687. It says okay, Regulus is in that. It says that south of the bright star Regulus, so it's right below Regulus, and above Alphard in the constellation of Hydra. The constellation Sextant represents an astronomer's device once used to measure the positions of the stars. Huh. So it was like a device that they used, huh? I wonder what that device looks like. Oh, I see. Here's what the device looked like. It was an old school device. Yeah. So you see that little thing right there? That's the device they used to measure and to be able to be guided, I guess, by the stars. But if you look at that constellation, it has that little like kind of rounded star thing there. See right here? Isn't that something? Yes, Karina. Your cat woke you up, and I checked my phone to find out that the meeting started an hour ago. Good job, kitty cat. Kitty cat woke you up. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll post this on the on the Patreon page and give us feedback in the comments too. If you have thoughts or things that you think you want to critique on, let us know, and we might pass some more by you guys before we release the information again. So this has been very good to share with you guys, and I do appreciate your prayers and all of your guys' support. And we'll continue to bring these things to you before we release it to the public. Always do like to kind of talk about things before we do that. My wife and I do that. Uh, we'll do that with you as well, and kind of give it another go around to see what you all think, and then pray as we do, bring it to the public. Amen.